You check your phone 96 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes you're awake. And every single time you hand a piece of your mind to someone who profits from your weakness. You call it staying connected. Thomas Shelby would call it what it is. A leash. Power doesn't go to the talented. It goes to the focused. To the man who can sit alone in a room with his own thoughts and not flinch. While the world scrolls, he plans. While they react, he builds. The question isn't whether you're capable, it's whether you can stop feeding the thing that's eating you alive. Let's be clear about what's happening to you. Right now, in this moment, there are entire buildings full of people whose only job is to keep you distracted. They have studied your brain better than you have. They know exactly which color, which sound, which little buzz will pull your attention away from whatever matters and onto a screen that gives them money and gives you nothing. You are not weak, you are outgunned. And the first step to taking your power back is admitting you've been losing a war you didn't even know you were fighting. Thomas Shelby understood something most people never grasp. The man who controls his attention controls his life. Not the loudest man, not the richest man at the start. The one who can decide where his mind goes and keep it there. Everything Shelby built came from this single ability to focus on the long game while everyone around him drowned in the noise of the moment. He didn't waste energy on things that didn't move him forward. He starved them, and in starving them, he fed the only thing that mattered, his own purpose. So understand this before we go further. Your focus is not a personality trait. It is a resource. It is finite. Every time you spend it on something trivial, you have less of it for the things that build your future. You wouldn't hand a stranger your wallet on the street, but you hand strangers your attention all day long. And attention is worth more than money, because money can be earned back and the hours you lose to distraction are gone forever. Here is the first hard truth. You don't have a focus problem. You have a distraction surplus. There is a difference, and the difference is everything. People think they need to become more disciplined, more motivated, more inspired. They read books about focus and watch videos about concentration and feel nothing change, because they're trying to add something to a system that's already overloaded. You can't pour clean water into a glass that's full of mud. First, you empty the glass. Think about what surrounds you in a normal day. A phone that lights up every few minutes. Notifications stacked on top of notifications. Open tabs you'll never read. Music with lyrics while you try to think in words. People who interrupt without asking. A television that's always on in the background. None of these are neutral. Each one takes a small bite out of your mental energy, and you've grown so used to the bites that you no longer feel them, but your brain feels them. That's why you're tired at the end of a day where you accomplished nothing. So the action is simple, though it won't feel easy. You begin by subtracting, not adding. Subtracting. Walk through your environment like a man clearing a battlefield. Every distraction is an enemy position. Your phone in another room while you work. Notifications off, not on silent, off. The television unplugged during the hours you set aside for what matters. The browser tabs closed, the music either gone or instrumental only. You are not depriving yourself. You are removing the thieves who've been robbing you blind. Now let's talk about the phone specifically, because it deserves its own war. This device in your pocket is the single greatest threat to your focus that has ever existed in human history. Not because it's evil, but because it's designed by people who are extremely good at their jobs, and their job is to capture you. Every time you reach for it without a reason, you are obeying a command that was planted in you by someone who will never know your name and never care about your future. Shelby answered to no one. Why do you answer to a screen? The fix is not willpower. Willpower fails because it's a muscle, and muscles get tired. The fix is design. You make the distraction harder to reach than the work. You put friction between yourself and the thing that's stealing your time. The phone goes in a drawer in another room. The apps that hook you get deleted off the device entirely. You can use them on a computer if you must, where they have less power over you. You make the right thing easy and the wrong thing hard, and then you stop relying on a willpower that was always going to break. Understand the principle underneath all of this. You become what you give your attention to. If you spend 3 hours a day watching other people live their lives on a screen, you're becoming a spectator. If you spend 3 hours a day building something, you're becoming a builder. There is no neutral. Attention is not just how you experience the world, it is how you shape who you are. The man who masters his attention is, quite literally, choosing who he becomes. The man who doesn't is being shaped by accident, by algorithm, by whoever shouts loudest. Now, here's where most people get it wrong. They think focus means forcing themselves to concentrate through gritted teeth. It doesn't. Real focus feels almost effortless once the distractions are gone, because focus is your brain's natural state. A child building with blocks doesn't need motivation. They're simply absorbed because nothing is pulling them away. You were that child once. The world didn't make you scattered. It trained you to be. And what was trained can be untrained. So let's talk about how you rebuild your attention span. Because right now, if you're honest, it's probably in pieces. You can't sit through a movie without checking your phone. You can't read a chapter without your mind wandering. This is not a character flaw. It's an injury, and injuries heal with the right treatment. The treatment is deliberate practice in being bored. Yes, bored. You have to teach yourself to tolerate the absence of stimulation, because the inability to be bored is the inability to focus. Start small and build like you'd build any strength. Sit and do one thing for 15 minutes without escaping to your phone. Just 15. When the urge comes to check something, and it will come hard, you let it pass without acting on it. You feel the discomfort and you stay. That discomfort is the feeling of your attention span growing back. Most people quit at exactly this moment, the moment of growth, because they've been taught that discomfort means stop. Shelby knew that discomfort usually means you're finally doing something that matters. Then you extend it. 15 becomes 30. 30 becomes an hour. You're not training motivation. You're training the capacity to stay. And over weeks, something remarkable happens. The constant itch to check, to switch, to escape, it quiets down. Your mind, which felt like a radio stuck between stations, finally tunes to a single clear signal. This is what people who do great work have that others don't. Not more talent. The ability to stay in the room with a hard problem long after everyone else has wandered off. Let's address the noise inside your own head, because not all distraction comes from a screen. Some of it comes from you. The endless worrying, the replaying of conversations, the imagining of futures that may never come, the mind that won't shut up. This internal distraction is more dangerous than the external kind, because you can't put it in a drawer. You carry it everywhere. And a mind full of noise can't focus no matter how quiet the room is. The discipline here is to treat your thoughts the way Shelby treated information, with cold selection. Not every thought deserves your engagement. Most don't. A thought arrives and you have a choice. Feed it with attention or let it pass. People believe they must follow every thought their mind produces, as if thoughts were orders. They are not orders. They are suggestions, and most of them are bad ones. You learn to notice a thought, recognize it as useless, and refuse to chase it. This is not suppression, it's selection. You are the one who decides what gets your mind's energy. Practically, this means having somewhere to put the noise. When a worry keeps circling, you write it down, on paper, out of your head, where you can deal with it at a set time instead of all the time. The mind clings to things it's afraid it will forget. Once it's recorded, the grip loosens. You schedule a specific time to worry, to plan, to handle the open loops. And outside that time, when a thought arrives, you tell yourself it has an appointment, and you return to what's in front of you. This sounds almost too simple. It works because it gives your restless mind exactly what it wants. A guarantee it won't be ignored, without letting it run your entire day. Now we come to the heart of it. Why bother with any of this? Because focus is the foundation of every form of power you actually want. Money follows focus, because the people who get rich are the ones who can concentrate long enough to become genuinely excellent at something rare and valuable. Respect follows focus, because the world respects the person who finishes what others abandon. Freedom follows focus, because the focused man finishes his work and owns his time, while the scattered man works 12 hours and accomplishes 3 hours of real output, chained to tasks that never end. This is the part people miss. The scattered, distracted life feels busy, but it produces almost nothing. You can spend an entire day responding to messages, half watching videos, jumping between tasks, and arrive at night exhausted with nothing to show for it. Meanwhile, the focused man worked 4 deep hours and moved his whole life forward. He is not smarter than you. He is not luckier than you. He simply refused to let the small things eat the big things. That refusal is the difference between a life of motion and a life of progress. So let's get specific about how you structure your day around focus, because intentions without structure die by noon. You decide in advance what the 1 or 2 things are that actually matter today, not the 10 things. The 1 or 2 that, if completed, would make the day a success no matter what else happened. Then you give those things your best hours, your first hours, before the world wakes up and starts making demands. Most people give their best hours to email and their leftover exhausted hours to the work that matters. You will do the opposite. Protect those hours like Shelby protected his territory. Nothing gets in, no meetings, no messages, no checking, no exceptions. This block of time is sacred, and you defend it with the seriousness of a man who knows that his entire future is built in these uninterrupted stretches. The world will tell you it needs you immediately. It rarely does. The message can wait an hour. The notification can wait. Almost everything that feels urgent is not actually urgent. It just shouts loudly. The truly important things rarely shout. They wait quietly for you to give them your attention, and most people never do. Let's talk about the people around you, because some of your distraction wears a human face. There are people in your life who consume your attention and give nothing back. People who call to dump their chaos on you. People who pull you into drama that isn't yours. People who interrupt your work because they have no respect for your time, often because you've never taught them to have it. Shelby was generous with his loyalty and ruthless with his boundaries. You can be both kind and unavailable. These are not opposites. The action is to make yourself genuinely hard to reach during the hours you've claimed for your real work. Not rude, just unavailable. You let people know when you can be reached and when you cannot, and then you hold that line until they learn it's real. The people who matter will respect it. The people who don't respect it were never really respecting you to begin with. They were treating you as a convenience. A man who is always available to everyone is valuable to no one, least of all himself, because he's given his entire attention away and kept none for the work that would actually change his life. Now, here's something that will sting, and I want you to sit with it. A lot of your distraction is a choice you make, because focus is uncomfortable. Let's be honest about this. Picking up the phone is easier than facing the hard problem on the desk. Scrolling is easier than sitting with the anxiety of not knowing if you're good enough. Distraction is often not a failure of discipline. It's an escape from discomfort. You reach for the distraction precisely because the important work is hard, and hard things make you feel inadequate, and you'd rather feel entertained than inadequate. This is the deepest layer, so understand it well. Every time you choose distraction over focus, you're choosing comfort over growth. You're telling yourself that feeling okay right now matters more than building the life you want. Shelby never chose comfort. He understood that the things worth having sit on the other side of discomfort, and that the willingness to sit in discomfort is the rarest and most valuable trait a person can develop. When you stop running from the hard feeling and stay in the room with the hard work, you're not just building focus. You're building a self that can't be intimidated by difficulty, and that self can build anything. So when the urge to escape comes, and it will come every single time you sit down to do something that matters, you name it. You say to yourself, "This is the discomfort talking, and I do not obey discomfort." Then you stay. You let the urge rise and fall without acting. Every time you do this, you grow stronger, and the urge grows weaker. This is the entire game, repeated thousands of times. Stay when you want to flee. That's it. That's the whole secret that nobody wants to hear because it can't be bought and it can't be faked. Let's talk about the long game, because focus is not a sprint you win once. It's a way of living. The man who focuses for one day and then collapses back into chaos gains nothing. The power comes from doing this consistently, day after day, until it's no longer a struggle, but simply who you are. In the beginning, it takes effort to remove the distractions, to protect the hours, to stay when you want to leave. But over time, it becomes automatic. The new way of living wires itself into you, and what felt like discipline becomes identity. This is the goal. Not to force focus through willpower forever, but to become the kind of person for whom focus is natural. The person who reaches for the phone less because the habit has died. The person whose mind is quiet because they've trained it to be. The person who sits down to work and simply works, without the internal battle that consumes everyone else. This person exists. You can become them, not through some trick or hack, but through the slow, unglamorous repetition of choosing focus over distraction until the choice no longer feels like a choice. Understand that the world will not help you with this. The world profits from your distraction. Every system around you is built to keep you scattered, reactive, consuming. The default path leads straight into the noise, and most people walk it without ever questioning where it goes. To focus, in a world engineered for distraction, is an act of rebellion. It is you refusing the life that was designed for you and choosing the life you actually want instead. That refusal will set you apart because almost no one is willing to make it. And here is the thing about being set apart. It's lonely sometimes. When you go quiet, when you put the phone away, when you protect your hours and decline the constant invitations to be distracted, people won't always understand. Some will think you've changed, become distant, become difficult. Let them. Shelby never needed the approval of people who couldn't see what he was building. You're not focusing to be liked. You're focusing to become powerful. And power has always required a willingness to be misunderstood by people who chose comfort. Let's bring this down to what you do tomorrow morning, because all of this means nothing if it stays an idea. Tomorrow, before you touch your phone, you sit with your own mind for 10 minutes. Just you and your thoughts. No input, no escape. Then you choose the one thing that matters most, and you give it your first, best hour with the phone in another room, and every notification dead. You stay in that hour, even when the urge to flee arrives, and you do it again the next day, and the next, and you don't break the chain. That's how it starts. Not with a dramatic transformation, but with one focused hour, protected and defended, like it's worth everything, because it is. String enough of those hours together and you become unrecognizable to the person you are right now. The scattered, reactive, always available version of you dies a little more each day, and in its place rises someone with the rarest power in the modern world, the ability to decide where his mind goes and keep it there. You came into this asking how to starve your distractions and feed your focus. Now, you know it isn't about adding discipline. It's about subtracting the thieves, defending your hours, and staying in the room when everything in you wants to run. The distractions are loud, designed by people who profit from your weakness, and they will not stop. But you have something they can't take unless you hand it over. The final say over where your attention goes. Stop handing it over, starve the noise, feed the work, and become the one man in 100 who actually owns his own mind. The power was always yours. Go take it back.